I'm saying this to help you, and I love you. Okay, ready? Okay. I never know what people will get offended by or not.
These people are living near what could become the like next Chernobyl, right? Because of like weapons are being stored in an active nuclear power plant as like bombs blow up like 300 meters away. Destiny?
That's a girl's name.
Thailand?
Yes, that is a girl's name. How do you make a shift in content?
What the f?
Another thing, right?
Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry. I just muted my whole thing for some reason. Okay, how do I make a shift in content? Go ahead.
Yeah, because I've made a massive shift in the content that I'm putting out on my channel. And I mean, I've went from like doing 2 uploads a day to like, hopefully if I can, like one, like a month or like one a week or one every 2 weeks. That's the hope. And obviously I knew it was going to be difficult, but holy Jesus Christ.
What, yeah, so the rough thing is that the viewership is not, as good as like the other videos where I'm guessing.
I went from making 4K on YouTube a month to $100.
Yeah. I mean, long form content is really tough. There's not gonna be like a shortcut for that, right?
Yeah. Fuck. It's just that I guess you just gotta like slowly like nurture that new audience by just like just keeping at it, just grinding it until like you kept the people that you're gonna keep and you've got new people who will make up for the people who are no longer interested.
Well, there's a different skill set for doing that type of content as well, like such to develop it. Like, are you happy with the viewership you're getting on like the videos that you are publishing, or is that viewership really low?
It depends. I mean, I made like a second channel for all the like content that I used to do, like just normal stream stuff, and that is like outperforming like my most like recent video on the ground. My second channel content is like outperforming like the newest video that I released, where we went to like the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant and we like talked to locals about like the possibility of a nuclear disaster and how it would affect them, the radiation, stuff like that, what it's like to live near bombardments and stuff like that. Like sometimes they'll get like, you know, okay viewership, but it's not making up at all for what we used to do. Like if I release a debate with some like tanky psychopath, like that'll do fine. But if I release this like video on Chernobyl, which took a ton of work, a lot of organizing, we actually went to the power plant during a massive counteroffensive in the area, and we really considered not going because it was really dangerous because the Kherson counteroffensive was just launched, and we were like always like 2 or 3 miles from the Russians, and so we got shelled, and I really enjoyed the whole process of filming it, but just the amount of time invested and money invested was not at all worth if I just bring in some 2 brain-celled like hardcore Marxist-Leninist in chat, bring them on stream and yell at them. That's gonna make me like 10 times more money than the actual effort of like going there and like interviewing locals. And I refuse to ever go back to that being like the main crux of my content, no matter what. Half of it is to spite Dan, and the other half is personal commitment. So I just gotta like figure a way to either like make this work, or I'm just gonna like drop it and get involved in aid work.
For the ultra high effort content, have you considered, do you have a Patreon?
I do have a Patreon. I'm making $800 a month on it now, which is helpful. It is helpful, but it doesn't make up for the massive dip that I've taken. I think it's just gonna like take time and like more uploads.
Yeah, I would say that Patreon is good. Here's like another thing, broadly speaking, to think about. Why should anybody watch your Ukraine content over any of the other news stories or anything else going on?
Because I think when you look at like a CNN video, what they're going to show is like a few snapshots of maybe some battles or some like exchanges of artillery fire. They might show you like 5 seconds of like a person crying. But what I will do is I'll sit down with the family, talk to them about their experiences, what they have to live with. They'll actually come out and they'll like, hey, this actually shattered my window the other day. Here's an artillery shell that nearly missed my child. I have to drink vodka to sleep at night because of how hard the bombardment is. And then you just like film these locals swimming in the river right next to this power plant occupied by the Russians as they're flipping it off. Like this incredible footage that CNN just doesn't have the time to show because they have to like plug in the Tampax commercials or move off of the war that not as many people care about anymore because it's like an 8-month-old news story. And
think that,
this type of first person testimony I think is really important, not only for like getting an idea of what it's like to live in these areas, but also for like historical purposes.
So I think that when we're thinking in terms of content creators, important doesn't matter, right? There's a lot of stuff that might be important that might not make for like entertaining footage, right? Or people wouldn't care to watch it, right?
That's true. That is
just
true.
curious. Have you are you friends with Lauren?
Lauren Southern?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Because I was gonna say, because she has a lot of interesting stuff to say about like when she goes to film a documentary, like how does she pick out like what stories she wants to tell? Something that I feel like I've kind of learned in watching stuff and talking to people that work on this stuff is like nobody really cares that much about Ukrainians. Like they live way on the other end of the world, and it's just like not relevant to most people's lives. Most people don't really care about geopolitics because it's on the other end of the world. We're in America, you know, Atlantic Pacific between us and everybody else. But if you can find a good story, people will be interested in like certain stories. So like following like a really good example is the Anna girl, whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah,
Anastasia.
Yeah. The reason why people care about content with her is because they've got like some idea of a backstory. They've seen her a few times, so she's personable. She seems like a real human, not just like here's a family where sad things are happening. And there's kind of like there's a narrative that's kind of developed. She's been on people's streams. She talks about what's going on. She's involved in this aid work. She's posting pictures. Like you kind of have like a buy-in. Like if she, God forbid, but like if she were to get killed or something dramatic were to happen to her, I say dramatic, I don't like drama, but if something like extreme were to happen to her, there would be a lot of people that would be very interested because they've seen so much of her life and like, wow, this is really interesting.
It's true. We actually, I did film with her. Hey, one second, I got an alarm.
Yeah.
I did film with her. We went to her school that was destroyed by the Russians. We went to her where her father was killed, and she retold the story. We got a lot of amazing testimony. She brought us through the more dangerous parts of the city that are constantly getting shelled. We filmed a lot of that. Some missiles missed us by like a mile or two, and we filmed that strike. And we're working on like getting that released right now. I think a lot of the problems I've been facing is just going through these hours upon hours upon hours of footage and deciding what we keep and what we get rid of is extremely difficult. And I don't work with documentarians. I work with like people who used to like edit stream content. And so it feels like we're learning a lot of this.
Yeah, a lot of it is going to be learned. And then there's like, this is, okay, I'm saying this to help you and I love you, okay? Ready? Okay. I never know what people will get offended by or not.
Okay.
It feels like a lot of your stream content has worked as you facilitating other people doing stuff, right? So on your shows, it's bringing in other people and it's serving the role of the host. And on your on a lot of your interactions, it's like I'm Dylan, but like I'm showing you, I'm like the host for this type of thing. But is your audience? This sounds weird. I'm going to say this, but does your audience really care about you, or do they care about what you're showing them? Because when you say things like, "Oh, like we were near a missile strike" and all of that, like sure, that's like kind of dramatic, but typically, I don't know if your audience is watching for your story so much as the stories of other people that you're showing. So I think that the challenge you have to overcome is you either have to find a way to kind of, it sounds weird, but you have to find a way to like become the content more. Like, I don't want you guys to just watch for the other people I'm showing. I want you guys to watch because I want you to care about me, which is kind of like a change up from what you've done traditionally, or you need to find a way to like build upon, or to find and then build upon like stories that you can show of like other people's lives in a way that you were featuring other people's content before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess for me, like the selling point is like for the video I just posted is like, we like drank with the locals near the power plant in order to get the story, and I think there is something endearing, I would say, to drinking next to an active nuclear power plant occupied by the Russian army that has missiles going off next to it, right? And talking about the experiences you found. I found it personally endearing, and I think the hook for me would be...
But it's for other people, like locals. Yeah. Who cares, right? I'm not trying to sound cold, but like locals that's just not a big buy-in for a lot of people, you know? Like, have you ever read any books about like Hiroshima or anything like that?
I have not read any books about Hiroshima, no.
There's an old book. I read this for a play that I was in, but I think the name of the story is just Hiroshima. But oftentimes, I'm going to say oftentimes, even though I haven't read that many books, but oftentimes I think from the perspective of natural disasters, the best books that are written aren't usually like, on July 27th, an earthquake happened and 400 people died and 800 people lost power and blah, blah, blah. It's usually like, here's a natural disaster from this person's perspective. And I think that Hiroshima book was that. It was like, it was the perspective of Hiroshima from 5 different people, and it cut between their lives. And so you were getting the actual events that happened in Hiroshima and all the different things that went on pre, post, and during the bombing. But you also were getting it from the perspective of like individual people whose stories you were bought into, because they're human beings, and you're yeah.
There's a story that I'm working on that I'm really interested in. That we went to the Donbass and we went to Kramatorsk, and there was this medic we met who, except a bunch of aid that we brought, who doesn't use a gun. He, because of religious purposes, he doesn't believe in guns. He's been in the war for 8 years, and he just has like a combat like shield that he like puts in front of him. He goes, grabs people, and drags them away, and he's like 60 years old. And it's a super interesting story. We just talked to him for hours upon hours upon hours as he like showed us around the area. That's something that I think like has a really good like hook, because it's like, this is like a Ukrainian Desmond Doss, you know, from like Hacksaw Ridge, the movie that like came out. The guy who, and I think like stories like that is stuff that I'm particularly interested in, and I would think that that's like a good hook, right? Like somebody without a gun, religious purposes, doesn't believe in fighting, so instead he just runs into combat, grabs people, drags them away. I think like stuff like that would be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I guess if you build a video around it, don't make that like a 1-minute segment and expect people to tune in to see everything else around it. Like that would have to be like its own kind of standalone thing, right? We kind of like follow this guy's story from like the beginning of the war to where he's at now, rather than like that's a 30-second insert on like a 20-minute video.
Yeah,
I could be wrong about all this too. If you're not friends with her on Discord, I would add Lauren and talk to her, because she has like a lot of experience of like she's more documented than anybody I know, but she has a lot of experience of like going to an area and trying to find a story and then building like a film around like a lot of captured footage and stuff. Like you should like tap her mind for, because she's done like so much of that type of work. I think that's a really good resource to use. I can't think of anybody else, but really think about like your role as like being the content versus like presenting the content, because that's going to make a big difference for how your audience engages.
I'll be right back.
Be careful, babe.
When you say like being the content, what do you mean by that besides presenting the content?
Like people watch me because of me, not generally because of who I feature. And when I feature other people on my stream, the reason why the features go really well are because they work as good synergists for me. Like the best guests that I have on my stream are oftentimes the ones that provoke the best reactions from me. Whereas for a lot of your content, you're usually kind of playing the host role, saying like, okay, I brought these people together, like let's watch them fight. But you've changed now from the host role to the content role. Now you're asking people, I'm not here to just host stuff. I want you to care about me now. And it's a different role than you've played traditionally, so your audience might not be prepared for that. Like imagine if there was like a CNN, imagine if there was like a CNN special where like, think of like some news anchor, like Anderson Cooper, I guess. And it's like his like personal story in like Ukraine or whatever. Although these people have become like big media personalities in their own right. I'm trying to think of something more comparable. But if you would just take a guy where it's like, okay, this guy's he usually shows us in the news all the time, but now we're like watching him there. Like it's just not going to feel the same. The audience isn't going to engage with it the same way. Like we're not here to watch you. We're here to watch what you want to show us. Yeah, that's what. Does that make sense?
It'd be like, you know, that guy like Funniest Home Videos, like that old TV show that they used to have on TV. It'd be like if he was like, I'm in the trenches now.
Yeah, basically.
And you just follow him around.
Yeah. And it's like we're used to you kind of like showing us stuff, not like being the stuff. Not to say that you can make that transition, but it's going to be different, so your audience isn't going to be primed for it as much, you know?
That is true. I mean, I think most of the videos that like I've primed and recorded is more me showing other people talking about their experiences, talking about the war, stuff like that.
Yep.
Out of like all the content I recorded that focuses on me, there's only one video I think I have primed right now, which is when we got shelled by the Russian army in Mykolaiv. And I thought like, well, that's an easy sell, right? You, like getting shot at is pretty fucking... It's pretty simple to sell to people. Do you think I should focus more on... I mean, this feels... I hate to, like, focus... Like, it's a war going on. There's, like, millions of people suffering, and that I, like, focus it on me. It feels a little ego-driven, you know?
I mean, it depends on... What you're doing right now is ego-driven, right? You're not, like, taking videos for, like, a national archive. You're trying to, like, get people to watch stuff.
That's true.
Everybody,
you have to have some ego if you're a content creator,
and there's nothing bad
figure it
about that. Like, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like you're archiving film for like the Ukrainian, Museum of War. You're trying to, do a channel that people are bought in to watch. So yeah, I would say like finding like interesting stories or people and like doing longer content surrounding them that there's a buy-in for is probably really good. Or trying to like be more active and getting people more personally involved in what you're doing. Yeah.
I do think it would probably, I guess, I think maybe it would be better if I tried to work with more non-linear content where I just kind of like walk through, because I think a lot of my content is linear, and I think maybe it would be better if I told some of these stories in a non-linear manner, changed it up a bit.
Oh, thanks, Lex. Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
I think
you said you want to do it non-linear?
Yeah, maybe more non-linear. Like, I think definitely when I'm telling somebody's story, doing it in a non-linear manner, because I think a lot of times I just say this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and I think I definitely did that with the footage on the front line in Zaporozhye, and so I think maybe like when it comes to the Anastasia story, like maybe trying to work to make it more non-linear, where we kind of like transition from talk to talk to talk, not in order, but kind of like she says one thing about her father liking boxing, and then we transition to the sports stadium that was destroyed that she showed us around in. As she talks about why she loves Kharkiv so much, I think stuff like that might be better.
Yeah, it can work, but like to do video after video after video like that's a hard thing, because like
very difficult.
Yeah, one thing that's probably really difficult, and it's actually probably even more difficult for you because you're on the ground, is in your mind, right? You're in Ukraine, watching people fighting, people that have died in an active war zone, and in your mind, there's not a question of like, how do I make this feel entertaining or important to people? Because it is. Like, what do you mean, right? But you have to look at it from the mind of somebody that's like an American citizen is like, I don't give a fuck. What I mean, like, I guess I see shit on the news and blah blah blah. But like, do I really care? Do people really care? Am I really gonna watch a video on it? And for most people, the answer to that is just no. They don't really. They're not that bought in that they want to watch like a whole fucking video on whatever. They just don't. Yeah. So, the buy-in for people is usually like compelling stories, right? Like finding a person that you can follow that has an interesting story and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, it was like the Zaporozhye power plant video was interesting because I was drinking with people near this nuclear power plant that had so many stories. The IAEA was visiting at the time for like safety concerns, and they welcomed me into their home. They were like almost like forcing food down my mouth, like being extremely giving people, extremely kind people. And
everything sounds like an interesting kind of story for you to tell personally. But like, why would anybody care about anything you've just said? I don't know what the IAEA is. I don't like you.
I guess like
yeah.
The hook is like these people are living near what could become the like next Chernobyl, right? Because of like weapons are being stored in an active nuclear power plant as like bombs blow up like 300 meters away, and seeing the conditions of what people have to live under. I think that's interesting to me. I don't think it's interesting to necessarily everyone. I think it's going to be like inherently to me, it's going to be interesting also because I drank with these people and had a good time with these people, and they were like good people personally.
Yeah. Yeah, remember, personally interesting is way different than like, is this like marketable content that a lot of people are going to want to see,
That's true.
But I would say that like, relying on Patreon is going to be really important too, because you're appealing to more of a niche, and you're trying to do longer form content as well. But it's definitely going to be something you'll probably have to develop a rhythm for too.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of it is just that. I think a lot of people say they want, and I got like a really like a positive react. Like everybody I talk to about this, like, yeah, this is the type of content we want. We do polls with the community, then they'll say this is the type of content they want. But I don't think people really a lot of times know what they want.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful, right? Like if I poll people, like, do you want an informative newscast about this event going on, or do you want me to do like a joke where like I streak down like a Ukrainian street while Russian artillery shells are shooting me? Like people might vote for like, well, the informative thing is probably what I should answer, but like they're gonna like there's gonna be 30x views on the video with the guy streaking across like Russian artillery, right? Unfortunately, yeah. Absolutely,
because it reminds me of like you know how the first of the year everybody buys those like exercise machines and they like make like first. It feels kind of like that. Like they know that this is probably better for like what they would know and like developing like knowledge about the conflict, and they'll say that they want it, but they don't actually want it. What they want me to do is like debate Putin in a minefield or something.
Yeah,
which would be incredible. by the way.
Yeah. Also, yeah, it would be. Also, the stuff you're doing would also probably make for a better like documentary than like YouTube videos uploaded continuously as well. Like there might be a lot of buy-in for like, okay, I want to watch a 1.5 hour thing of what's going on, but like 20 minutes every day of like random stuff happening in Ukraine, where it feels random because like what, like it feels relatively inconsequential on a day-to-day, probably won't feel as impactful, unless you can find a way to be in areas where like really big news events are going on, or get ahead of that. Like if you could have been recording, for instance, like if you had, obviously this is a huge if, but like if you could have had like unique footage near like that bridge to Crimea going down, that would have been a really big video because that's like topical now and people care about that, you know?
Yeah, I guess for me, like, I thought it was a big video because it was the day of the IAEA visit, but then it took so much time to get this video processed and developed. It was like 2 months after we ended up recording it that it actually got released. And that has just been a rhythm with a lot of my Ukraine content. It's just extremely slow release times. I'm trying to fix that, but that has also been really difficult. Like the video production side is so different than just like cutting up a stream when it comes to like audio, video stabilization, getting music for the videos, stuff like that. It's like 10 times more difficult than just like debating some random tanky.
Yeah, for sure. Remember always, like, if hopefully you're learning this as you're editing and filming, the worst and laziest saying in music and in video that you can ever say is like, we'll fix it in post. Try to make sure that your like original material is good enough that you don't have to do that much work after the fact, because holy fuck, it is so much better to have a clean original take than to try to clean up a whole bunch of shit in editing afterwards. That's a fucking nightmare. So, yeah.
Fuck, it's impossible I think it's impossible to have like just one big video, because the thing is like many of this footage we're taking is like over multiple days, because these trips take like 3 to 4 days as you're like going across the country. And
yeah,
you need
I was
like
just saying
tons of
things
B-roll.
like keeping like audio levels stable between takes, using consistent microphones and settings, whatever, just stuff like that, so you don't have to spend as much time like editing dumb shit between videos or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fuck, man. I'm happy how much positive reception Anna has gotten in your community. Your community has been extremely supportive. Helped her do like a lot of really good aid work, which I've been happy about.
Yeah,
like
we
the
need to
ATV.
find just like locating like other stories like that. I think would be really, really, really good.
That'd be good. I'm hoping that the video we do on her story and about her father and everything, I'm hoping that's getting a positive reception. Definitely, since she's already been received very, very well by people, I think that video should do well. Yeah. My goodness. Huh. So when am I going to see you in the trenches?
Dude, I would be like the first fucking plane that gets shot down, like over fucking Kiev or some stupid shit. I know it would fucking happen. Maybe someday, we'll see.
Absolutely.
It would be interesting to go though. Yeah, I've kind of thought about it. It's just, fuck, I really don't want to die to some weird fucking shit, dude. When I was in Sweden, every time I go to Sweden, I'm like, I'm gonna die to a fucking Islamic terror attack, and it's every single fucking conservative in the world that I've ever argued with is like, I fucking told you, the Muslims were there, they got you, bitch. I'm like, god damn it. Yeah.
I was really worried that I was somehow gonna like end up in like the one like not like the one actual like Nazi division in Ukraine. I was just gonna join it. I was in like the SS Einsatzgruppen Führer, and like I only ended up meeting one Nazi in Ukraine, one actual Nazi. It was some right sector guy. He had this like prison tattoo on his neck. Fucking all right sector guys looked like they're like straight out of like the toughest prison in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And the dude fucking like I didn't notice he was a Nazi until like after he gave me a fucking Snickers bar.
Nice.
And I was eating the Snickers bar. Oh, this is really nice of him. He just gave me a Snickers. He was so friendly. And then I looked down and I just see fucking like an SS symbol on his bag. I was like, oh.
Nice.
Oh, I got a Nazi Snickers bar.
For Lex donated, and he said, I feel the pain. I recorded hundreds of conversations in Ukraine in Russian, and I've been struggling on how to put it all together into one video, and it's personally, psychologically painful to edit in. Yeah, I think that this is probably true of whatever Lex will put out, and I know it's true for Lauren. For like every hour you see of footage, there's like sometimes dozens or sometimes even hundreds of hours of footage that just never makes it, because trying to find the story and everything is so fucking difficult. It's so hard to do. Yeah.
The thing that's really difficult for me is like a lot of these people I am very, very close to now, and I would consider them very close friends, because I live with a lot of these people for months at a time under conditions that, I mean, just naturally makes you like get close to other human beings, either for like psychological reasons or just like basic safety. Like you have to depend on people to like make sure they can know how to apply a tourniquet, and they would drag you out of something if you got shot or hurt or stuff like that, and they rely the same thing on you. And it's really difficult when I go and I film something at somebody's home, and they like show me the destruction of their village, and I'm filming and I'm asking questions. We spend an hour together. And I'll get messages about like every week this person comes by the family home and they're like, hey, did they ever release that interview? Did they ever release that? And I know that this person, this is the only time they've ever got to speak to a reporter. They got to speak to an American reporter, and they feel like finally like somebody will hear their suffering, somebody cares. And it's just like one clip amongst millions. And I almost feel like I'm kind of like failing these people in a way. And it really fucking sucks.
So it's really important to be clear. And like I've had people tell me this stuff, like sometimes there are people that are just, they're really busy for whatever reason, or you never know. Like people will say sometimes like, hey, there's no guarantee that this will air, or I'll let you know when it releases, but it might not, just because of how stuff works. But like, yeah, talking to people about that is probably important. That managing expectations thing.
I think it's also difficult because like there's a language barrier, and I'm trying to like explain these things, but it's fuck, I don't know. I guess, and I feel super fucking guilt trippy about it. Because I mean, it is true that these person will probably most likely never get to speak to another reporter about this again, because there's just a million different stories just like theirs, right?
Yeah.
And so it feels like they've put like a lot of hope in this like random American, and I don't know. I kind of like fell into the guilt trap. Fuck. My goodness.
Yeah.
Well. I appreciate the advice. I think maybe
the one thing in life, I always say this, learn this in music school. A lot of people don't know this. Okay. There's a saying, and it's like good artists like innovate or something, and great artists copy. There are so many people that have spent so much time learning lessons about how to do content like this, literally find them and just steal their ideas. Like other people have already gone through all of this effort and trouble to figure out how to do shit like this, find them and just steal everything they've learned. That's like your greatest asset as a human being, is not learning from your own experience, but learning from other people's experience. Yeah. So talk to people that have done stuff and dig through their shit. Yeah. I can drag you and Lauren into a room if you want to, if you need that connect. I only bring her up so much because she's done so much content like this. Or find other people that have like filmed stuff, reach out to Vice. I don't know if any of them would talk to you, but like, yeah, you got talk to people that have already done it, and then you can figure out like what their method was for editing stuff, so that you don't have to relearn it and reinvent the wheel all on your own.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I'm sure I can find people. Maybe when I go back, I'm gonna like sit down with people. Maybe it would be useful to speak to like Ukrainian content creators, because I know there's Ukrainians who have been covering this war for 8 years, and I think they would probably be the ones that know the most knowledge about like how to specifically like get these types of interviews where you can spend time with these people and get like really good questions that they're just not gonna, that a lot of other news organizations aren't gonna ask, either because they don't have the time or they just don't care enough to ask them.
No.
I think that would be really useful. I'm trying very, very hard to learn Ukrainian, but I hate learning other languages. It is the worst experience in the world, actually.
Is it even like a language that is it like a, what do they call our language? Is it a Latin language? Is it like English or German or any of that? Or is it like way on other shit?
It uses a totally different alphabet. So that I can't even begin. I'm not even trying to learn to read it. I just want to learn to just say like the basic things, like Dobre day, yakti, normalo. Just like the most basic of like communication. I'm trying to learn so I can more. I just want to be able to at least hear it and understand it. And speak it on a basic level. It's very difficult to me. I can't learn languages. I tried it in middle school and high school. I just can't do it.
Gotcha. Well, good luck.
My goodness. Thank you very much. You have a good one, Destiny, okay?
Yeah, good luck, buddy. Be careful.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to watch that new video, it's on Dylan Burns TV, okay? Ukraine's next Chernobyl. Everybody have a good one. Okay, see you later.
Have fun. Bye.
Bye-bye.